Awesome.
All right. We are happy to be here today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so welcome to the webinar today. We're happy to have everyone here. We're super excited to have Clifford Almeida with us today, and we'll be getting him in just a minute. I'm Emily Hunkler, the marketing coordinator with GoWP. If you are not familiar with GoWP, we are a WordPress maintenance and support team. So we partner with agencies like you all by taking care of that high-touch, low-value work that disrupts your day. We take that off your plate so you have time to focus on the low-touch, high-value work that helps your agency grow. And of course, that high-touch, low-value work I'm referring to is website maintenance and support. We're a white label service also, so whenever your client has a support request, that email is received by our 24/7 support team, and from there on out, the correspondence is all under your branded white label inbox. So if you have any questions about GoWP, about partnering with GoWP, or how we can help your agency, you can throw those up in the chat today, or feel free to email me at emily@gowp.com. So let's get to Clifford. That's why we're here. So growing companies is what Cliff loves to do. He's the CEO of HireAWhiz.com, which is a web agency that has a portfolio ranging from small businesses and nonprofits to Fortune 500 companies. He's also the founder of MyWebAudit.com, which is a SaaS that helps web professionals and digital marketers like you all generate and close more deals using actionable website audits. And that, of course, is what we're here to learn about today. So I will go ahead and throw it on over to Cliff.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Emily. I'm glad to be here, and special thanks to you and GoWP for having me. Welcome, everybody. Again, my name is Cliff. I run an agency here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Drop a note in the chat and let us know your name and where you're logged in from. I'm really looking forward to present to you today the strategies we use in our agency to close more deals faster and easier. We've used these strategies over the last decade to close millions of dollars. I've personally used these strategies in our agency to close millions of dollars, and this is a similar strategy that hundreds of other web agencies that use our SaaS and work in similar space as us do. So today we're going to be covering lots of actionable strategies. As Emily has mentioned, we will be recording this. So no need to take a bunch of notes. Just make sure you close down Facebook, email, and pay attention. Please drop a note and let us know if you can see my screen, and we will get started in just a minute. Awesome. Hey, Tasha, welcome. It looks like everyone can see my screen. Welcome, Carol. Friendly faces. Hey, Josh. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. So look, just a little bit about me for those of y'all who don't know who I am. I am married to my best friend, have two beautiful daughters. We love to travel the world. We've been to 35 plus countries, and my goal is to get to 100 by the time I hit 50. So look, I sold my first website for $400 many years ago when I was actually 16. Over the years, I've come a long way. You know, my web agency based out of Phoenix, Arizona has worked with several different companies, from small businesses to enterprise Fortune 500 companies. Honestly, I've listed these companies here just to show you that, you know, anyone can do these jobs, and ultimately the processes I'm sharing work with small to large enterprise level companies. The truth here is that most of these large companies have a lot of red tape and the profit margins on what they are. But the truth is, no matter what type of company you work with, these strategies that I'll be sharing here with you today will work. All right. So look, when I first started my agency, this used to be me, right? Can you relate to some of these problems? You know, when you get a quote and when you get a lead and you speak to them, you realize that you're just working with tire kickers. They want to take your time, learn what you can offer them, and identify how much ultimately you're going to charge them, and then they go work with the most affordable solution or the cheapest solution they think that can solve their problem. Oftentimes they treat you as a commodity. So they ask you questions like, well, if I pick someone in India or the Philippines, or, I have someone who is an intern, or one of my cousins knows web design, what's the difference, right? So ultimately you're being treated as a commodity. Or I used to hear things like, hey, look, you're charging me $3,000, or you're charging me $10,000, and someone else said they could do this for $1,500, or we've had crazy things like $500 for websites, right? And then if you're like us early on in our agency, we used to spend a lot of hours doing sales prep, right? We wanted to make sure we showed up, we gave them all the information they needed, and then oftentimes realized they weren't ready to buy. And I don't know how many of y'all are great at selling, but I used to hate selling because I never felt like I was good at using the sales strategies, being able to effectively sell on value, and then obviously be able to use the strategies needed to close deals. And so that led to low close rates. So I'm not sure how many of you can relate to any of these problems, but these issues are no longer problems in our agency. And I'm hoping with the information that I share with you today, they will not be for you. All right, so running sales in my agency felt like this. For those of you who have families and have taken holiday or family portraits, you know how this goes. And the truth is now we roll like this, and I'm going to be sharing with you why. Okay, so ultimately over the decade or two of experience that I had in this space, ultimately I felt like the secret to sales has fallen into 4 different points that need to be addressed during the sales cycle. The first one is delivering value, all right? Ensuring that what you offer them makes sense and is relevant to what they need. Being able to establish authority and convince them that you know what you're speaking about, and more importantly, that you build trust to ensure that they understand and they feel that you can actually solve their problem. And the biggest one here is that if you're looking to charge on value and sell 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 or $100,000 projects, you're going to need to be able to solve expensive problems, right? So if you can deliver value, establish authority, build trust along the way, and identify and solve, or ultimately just diagnose and tell them how you're going to solve the expensive problems, you will make the sale. For us, that's ultimately led to us creating some sort of sales framework. I call it the GIVE framework. It's a 4-step simple method that we use to dramatically increase the number of sales in our agency, and you can too. So the G stands for generosity, right? Ultimately, you want to start off by giving your prospect something that they can value and that they're interested in. For us, that is leveraging website audits. I is for information. So ultimately, your prospects have an expensive problem that they're dealing with. Every day they're sitting on this problem, and now they reached out to you. Most oftentimes they haven't even understood the severity of what it's costing their business or how important it is to solve the problem and what that opportunity looks like. So you're gonna need to talk to them and present this information about how you can solve this problem of how they're losing leads or customers, and how you can potentially generate more revenue for their business. V is for value, right? Ultimately, it's not all about just making the sale up front. If you try to sell them, then you're not going to make the sale, because all they're going to think is that you're just like every other web design agency or digital marketing company they're working with, where you sell them their services versus adding value up front. So build that trust, establish that authority, and deliver value, and then ultimately you will be able to sell that project to them. E is for education, right? So now that you've given them value through the website audit and you've presented it to them as an area of opportunity and identified problems, you need to educate them specifically about what that makes. You need to educate them specifically about what the solution will do for their business. And most oftentimes that's going to be generating more traffic, converting more of that traffic into leads or customers, and ultimately growing their business. And when you're able to specifically deliver that value, be generous, educate them, you're able to make that sale, and that comes naturally. Okay, so audits can specifically help you deliver a ton of value upfront. And I'll be walking you through specifically how you can do that. Another big thing is during the sales process, most oftentimes you're talking to your prospect and you're telling them things like, hey, we sell SEO or we offer web design services. But with an audit, you can specifically personalize your services to their needs. What do I mean by that? Ultimately, you can talk to them and say, hey, look, your site is not mobile responsive, or your page load speeds are 50 out of 100. And you can specifically show them these things and then tell them how your web design services can do that. You can talk to them about how they're missing their keywords on their titles or meta tags or alt tags, and you can specifically show them that and then talk about how your SEO services can help them. Right? Another big thing is when you only have, or in our case, when we're only spending 10, 15, 20 minutes to specifically identify challenges and opportunities as part of our sales prep, it's really hard to just look at a site and quickly identify that. So we used to spend hours doing a lot of this before. Now with a website audit, we can quickly identify challenges and opportunities that we wouldn't have just by browsing the site. And the bigger thing is we're able to present these to the prospect or our clients even who have not even thought of these things as problems or areas of opportunity. And the great part is when you're able to do this, when you're able to deliver the value and personalize your services to their needs, and present these challenges and opportunities, you automatically establish your expertise and build trust. So when 3 out of the 4 people they're speaking to about, who can help them with their website, 3 out of the 4 of them are going to tell them, hey, we do this and here's why. And you're going to be the one who actually shows them what's wrong and how you can solve that problem. Right? The cool part about website audits also is that not all clients are ready, or not all prospects are ready to invest $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000 in a redesign right away. Some of them just want you to get in and start helping them, right? That might be potentially putting them on some sort of website care plan where you leverage a company like GoWP to do that, like a lot of our customers do. And if not, you might handle that internally. But by running an audit, you're able to get them a list of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different actionable points. And the cool thing about audits is you can then prioritize them based off of impact. So if they tell you things like, hey, our biggest problem right now is conversion, or our biggest problem is getting more traffic, you can prioritize the tasks based off of that. And by doing this, you're able to stand out from the competition and deliver value, so that you don't have to compete, 1, based off of price, and then 2, based off of just talking to them about the service of what you offer, but actually giving them a roadmap of what you can solve in their business. And then that'll allow you to charge on value that you deliver. The cool part about generating revenue with audits is that there's several different ways you could do that in your business, right? So the first one is the easiest one, which is just a foot in the door strategy. You could ultimately charge for the audit, and that could be something like $395 or $1,500 with 5 hours or 10 hours worth of work. And that's just a great way to get your foot in the door, build trust with them, and then obviously sell them your core services. That might be a full website redesign, that could be digital marketing, whatever that is. It's also a great way to cross-promote productized services. What do I mean by that? Well, if you, let's just talk about 2 or 3 productized services we have in our agency that we use website audits for. One is Google My Business optimization. So we run an audit on that, and then we can just charge them $500 to optimize their Google My Business placements. And that takes us 1 to 2 hours max to do. Then another productized service we do is just in essence selling, for example, e-commerce audits. So we sell e-commerce audits for $1,500 to $2,000, depending on how big the site is. And then we also include that as part of our discovery, which we charge $4,000 for e-commerce discoveries with an audit. And another productized service that we do is just ultimately on-page SEO. So we do on-page SEO for audit for their top 5 pages, and we identify the areas of opportunity, and then we just charge them $500 a page to optimize everything that we need to do. And so audits are a great way to, in essence, build productized services into your system, run it, and then execute the service and consistently leverage that on a scalable and repeated basis. All right, another great way to run to grow your business and generate revenue is to run an audit and then put them on some sort of website care plan and retainer. Our SaaS solution that we created has for those of you that work on WordPress and, for example, work with GoWP, all you have to do is run the plugin we have, and then in 2 to 3 minutes, it gives you a list of vulnerabilities, security recommendations, plugins that need to be updated, all that kind of stuff. So you have dozens and dozens of actionable points that you could work on a monthly basis that you could put them onto some sort of care plan or a monthly retainer to resolve. And the great part about a website audit, especially the ones that we leverage, is that we don't just talk about page performance or SEO or user experience or design. We actually put them all together. So it's a great way to cross-sell one service. So let's say you did a website redesign, run an audit and talk about points like conversion rate optimization or page performance or SEO, and then cross-sell those services. Okay, so if you have any questions, obviously, please put them into the chat box. I know I'm going through a lot of this very quickly. And Emily, if there are any pressing questions, I'll pause right now. I'll answer them. If not, I'm going to dive into, in essence, our lead to customer interaction workflow and then our discovery process. So at this point, we'll be covering our discovery process. You really should stick around till the end of this workshop, because at the end, not only will I be showing you how to create beautiful audits that generate 10, 20, 30 pages of actionable advice in minutes, but I'll be offering a special deal for those of you that are on this call and part of the GoWP community. All right, so if there are any questions, feel free to share them at this point. Emily, if not, I will go ahead and get started.
Yep, I think everything looks good to keep going.
Awesome, great. Okay, so look, for those of y'all who are going to be learning about our discovery and audit process, I want to make sure that you understand how our lead to customer interaction works. And that'll give you context to what we do. Obviously, every agency is different. So please take this information and then season it to taste, all right? So ultimately, we get leads that come in, whether it's inbound call or an email or a website chat. Ultimately, they come in as a lead, and then we try to qualify them quickly. That may mean a 5-minute call when they call us, to just talk to them and say, hey, look, we aren't going to be able to tell you right away if we are a fit, but here are a couple of questions. And so then we talk to them. If it's an email lead from our website or chat, we then lead them to our pre-qual form where they fill that in. And then when they fill that in, we in essence tell them, hey, we'd like to schedule a consultation call. We run the audit. And on that strategy call, ultimately, we spend the first minute or two just saying, hey, look, thank you for your time. We appreciate you working with us, or at least giving us your time. And look, you know a little bit about us. That's why you reached out. So we're not going to spend time selling you on why we're the right company. We just talk about 2 or 3 unique selling points about our agency. And then we answer, in essence, the questions. We discuss the questions that they answered on our pre-qual form about, what are their goals, what are the biggest challenges, what's it costing them, and why we think we can help. And then we do a very basic overview of an audit where we talk to them about specifically what we've identified on a high level perspective, especially if it's an e-commerce. I'm going to be walking through the case here of e-commerce websites. So there's no way to run through an e-commerce audit in 30 minutes. And we don't want to give them that much value just on a strategy call. So we give them, in essence, 3 to 5 really high value strategies that can transform their agency, transform their website based on what our agency has discovered. And then we talk to them about the next steps, which is really discovery. What I do want to let you know about our lead to customer interaction is that we qualify wisely. What that means is that learn and understand that not every prospect who speaks to you is a good fit for your business and can pay you for your for your services, right? So for example, if you charge $10,000 for websites, most barbers or hair salons aren't going to pay you for that. But if you're working with a home remodel contractor or doctor or lawyer, then they can, right? So make sure that you qualify wisely. Make sure you follow up. So oftentimes someone will reach out, you'll reach out back to them, and then they don't respond. Just remember, everyone's busy. Follow up with them. And make sure you establish a relationship. What do I mean by that? Just build interactions along the way, right? An interaction with the call or the email, a follow-up when you get onto the strategy call. Again, try to personalize anything you can with their niche, with the solutions you've provided to other people that have similar problems, things like that. And then implement the golden rule. Make sure that you add value before you try to sell them on your services. Treat them like you'd want to be treated. If you're looking for a car, you don't want the salesman just to sell you on why you need X car, and you really want them to be able to solve your biggest problem, which is identifying what's the safest, maybe most affordable, a car for the best bang for your buck, right? And then the biggest thing that you want to do during the strategy call and all the way through discovery is identify their expensive problems, right? If a customer is willing to talk to you about, or a lead is willing to talk to you about potentially working with you to solve their problem, which they just talk about as a website redesign, and you're able to ask the right questions and help them understand that their poor website is losing them $100,000 a month or $500,000 a year, then solving that problem for them and helping them understand that you can help them grow their business by hundreds of thousands, if not millions, you can charge them $25, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 for a website package and digital marketing. And I'll kind of cover that a little bit in more detail as we go. So really focus on that. Okay. So once we talk to them about how we can help them, we tell them, hey, look, the next steps are discovery. That's where we talk to them and tell them, look, discovery is ultimately pre-planning up front, and the importance of how that works. I just want to let you know, if those of you that are already doing some sort of discovery, could you drop that in the chat real quick, just so I can see how many of you are actually doing discovery? And if you could just say yes or no, and also say if you're charging. So is it paid or free? Okay, so I'll just wait for a second.
I did have one question come in, Cliff, also regarding if these website audits are for WordPress only sites or HTML sites as well.
Oh, that's a great question. No, they're for any type of website: WordPress, WooCommerce, Joomla, Magento, HTML, whatever. The WordPress plugin we have is only for the WordPress technical assessment. They can check that out on the website at the end, but all sites for sure. Okay, so Pam says that she charges and there's a paid discovery there. Here, Carol says, yes, she does, free mostly. Okay, great. So look, at the end of the day, I say always work with a discovery session. We do 5 of them. Again, our discovery sessions range from 1,500, and the highest one we've quoted, we didn't close, was 20,000. The highest discovery session we've closed multiple times over is $4,000 to $5,000 range. Most of them are between the $15,000 to $2,000 for brochure websites, and then $4,000 to $5,000 plus for e-commerce or custom web apps. All right. So look, it's a win-win situation, and here is why you should be charging for discovery, or why you should definitely be doing discovery. For those of you that are charging, my logical reason is, it's simply put, that your time is worth money and you're adding value, right? So the value for me is discovery in our business is not just a set of questions we ask them. We're looking to dig deep into their business and then ultimately add our perspective and insights and bring a ton of value and give them new revelations. Ultimately, it helps position us as an expert, right? Most people are saying, hey, we need a website, but they don't understand how their ideal customer persona works with the website messaging, with conversion optimization and SEO. And so when we bring all of that together, we're able to present a vision of ultimately how we can meet their needs and then exceed them to deliver better results. And so that's why we do that. And one of the big things that we do is we position website discovery as an investment in relation to a planning. So they prepare and plan upfront, right? Like for us, we tell them, look, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And so look, pay for the discovery. And then if you decide to work with us, we take that as an investment towards the project, because one way or the other, you have to do it. And just remember, for them, it's a win, because look, better planning will lead to better results. So there's less scope creep. You have clear expectations, And then at the end of the day, for you, you have a much higher chance of closing, because if they're working with you and they're paying for your discovery and you're taking that time to work with them, chances are they're not going to work with anybody else. And two, if they've invested money with you, especially larger companies, they're more prone. Statistics just show if a company does any sort of transaction with you, they have a much higher chance of doing a higher transaction with you than going with the competition. Right. And for them, just to realize, oftentimes we get, as agency owners, we get into this place of, man, they want stuff for free. But the truth is, if they go to a doctor, even before they get a prescription, they're going to have to pay for that doctor's visit just to use their time to be able to, get their symptoms checked out. If they go to a lawyer, no lawyer is going to say, hey, we're going to bring you on and take your case without specifically identifying what some sort of retainer fee is going to look like, right? And so make sure that if you do paid discovery, charge, what you feel you're worth based off of what you're delivering. If you're doing it for free just because you don't have a lot of customers, a lot of leads coming in, maybe charge a lower amount, or tell them, hey, look, we do two types of discovery. One is, these two steps. And then if you want a full discovery, and I'll kind of talk to you about what those steps look like on the next page, then maybe, give the first two steps for free. But if they want the comprehensive discovery, charge them for it. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that you're a subject area expert. You're giving them knowledge and expertise and helping them plan for a better, more successful business as well as website. And you should be charging for that value that you bring to the table, right? All of this stems from the concept of, you're going to do your work to help them get the results that they want. And it's a win-win. So look, at the end of the day, when I speak to agencies, they're like, well, how do you position discovery? Why should my prospects do this? Ultimately, at the end of my strategy call, all I tell them is this: look, the next steps is going to be discovery. We are a results-driven agency. So without clearly defining and understanding your project, we're not going to be able to build an effective solution. And without that, we're not going to be able to deliver on the results that you want, right? We've given them a website audit. We've kind of shown, or we've presented to them some of the areas that we have identified. And so we've already established a little bit of trust. We've built a little bit of authority just because we've shown them some things now, instead of just trying to sell them on why we're the right person. And then ultimately, I just tell them, look, when we execute discovery, we're going to have a clear blueprint of what success looks like and how to achieve it. It's also going to help us avoid expectation gaps, because you're going to have everything clearly stated. And that's going to lead to you ensuring that you avoid problems like scope creep and budget, which I'm sure you've had with your past projects. And most times they're going to say something like, yes. And I just want to let you guys know, as agency owners, you probably know that expectation gaps, which lead to disappointment, scope creep, and budget problems are things that you face in your agency. And if you execute discovery effectively, you can eliminate those. And obviously, when you're being paid to do it, you have not only more skin in the game, but you have more time to be able to do it effectively. Okay, so look, our discovery sessions are broken into 6 meetings. So the first one is ultimately identifying, what the company is about and their goals and what they're looking for from this project. 2 is specifically identifying who the ideal customer persona is, defining that, and then ultimately optimizing that with their messaging. And then 3, we're looking at the competitive landscape. We're not just looking at competitors and their websites, but we're talking about, competitive advantages and areas of opportunity there. And then we're a big proponent of charging on value, especially when we're working with e-commerce, and your website redesign for them could potentially add hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of bottom line revenue. You shouldn't be charging just $10,000 or $20,000. That's why we charge, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 plus. We're actually revamping our e-commerce solutions to be able to see how we not only charge that, but be able to charge some sort of percentage on revenue generated based off of goals set and achieved as well. And then what's really neat is because of the way we stack the questions and we do our discovery interactions, by the time we come to the transactional review, we've built the trust. So they tell us things like, how much revenue they're generating, what an average lead generates, and all of that type of stuff, so that we're able to use our ROI calculator and then position, in essence, a price point that is still a tremendous return on investment for them. Then we use number 5 is the interaction for project scope. This is kind of the technical stuff that most people focus on. Oftentimes for us, that is the least important. It's more important for the client to be able to see what the first 4 do for them. And then number 5 is mostly for us because we're making sure that we can clearly define the technical aspects of the project to be able to make sure that we don't miss anything and have to add, 40, 50 hours down the road. And then we do a solutions presentation where we, in essence, take everything together. We show them what the e-commerce audit was. We kind of tie the e-commerce audit in with all the areas here specifically. And then we tell them, hey, look, this project is going to be is going to cost X. By that time, we have a rough idea of what that's going to look like. And what's really different about our agency maybe versus a lot of what other people do right now in the agency space is we do not actually create a proposal. We tell them, look, we've kind of gone through this entire process. We now have a clear understanding of what this looks like, and this is what the investment is going to be. Are you ready to move forward? They might say something like yes, or they might have questions. We answer them. If they say, no, we've only lost 2 projects in the last 2 years following this process, because by that time they know that no one better understands them. We built that trust, established the authority, and given them now a roadmap of how to execute the project successfully and deliver the desired results they want. Right? And if they say yes, then I tell them, look, okay, the next step is we're going to put together an agreement that's going to outline this, and you just sign it with 35 or 40% deposit, depending on the size of the project. And then we get started. Okay, so here are some of the questions. So these are probably 1/3 of the questions that we ask them in each section. Again, this is going to be recorded, so I won't cover these in detail, but every question is there specifically to help guide us towards getting to know what their deeper needs and desires and problems are, and then be able to also see how we can reposition that in a way that we can deliver value and then charge on the value we're bringing in. Okay. So we have the company overview and goals. We have the ideal customer persona. This is really, really important because most companies don't even have this ironed down. And so when we cover this, they're like, oh, wow, we haven't even really thought of this. Again, it starts positioning us away from the other people they may have spoken to or worked with in the past. Then the competitive landscape, again, as I mentioned, this is less about, who's your competitor and what their site is, but really just talking to them about competitive advantages. What are they doing better? How can we automate some of that on the website? And then now we not only talk about revenue that's generated, we could talk about time that's saved, better positioning, better branding efforts, things like that. Right. And then one of the big things that we do is ask them about their website, the competitors' websites, and what they like about it, just so that we can get a better feel of what their preferences are. A big thing during the stages, we talk to them and tell them, look, we're not designing this website for you. We implement best practices. We're the subject area expert. We obviously do want to get an idea of what you like, but we're designing this for your ideal customers with their interest in mind and best practices that we've built in and learned along the way. And then once we get to the transactional review, I've specifically put in some of these questions here, so you can see how by asking these, you can start understanding the value you're bringing in, right? By asking them, how many new customers do they support on a monthly basis, right? How many new leads do they get? What's the average cost that they pay per lead? And then what's the transactional value? You start getting an idea of investment and the returns they're getting. And then when you ask questions like, what are the sources of your leads? When they say things like, well, it's print and organic, then you can talk to them about SEO. Or if they're looking to scale on a larger, they're looking to grow their business on a larger scale, then you can talk to them about digital marketing, whether that's Facebook or Google Ads or whatever that may be, content marketing. You can specifically talk to them about those strategies along the way. All right. So now we're going to just dive in from the discovery side. We've kind of covered, what that looks like as far as how do you propose it, why you should do it, what that includes for our agency. Now I'm going to dive into what we include with the website audit that we couple with the discovery.
I've got one quick question here, Cliff.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have all the discovery questions for an e-commerce website?
Possible. Are they asking me if I can provide my questions?
I'm not sure if the asker could elaborate a little bit more, possibly.
And if so, yeah, that would be fine. Just have them reach out. I'll be providing some of my information. I'd be happy to provide that as value add. I have a abundance mindset. So listen, I didn't learn all of this by myself. People helped me along the way. So yes, if you have specific questions strategically on the e-commerce side about discovery, I'd be happy to provide the questions I have to you. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem at all. Okay, cool. So look, over the years, we've realized that, for a website to be successful, e-commerce or not, HTML, WordPress, Joomla or not, is that you need to be able to measure things like user experience. How professional is the website and how user-friendly is it, right? Conversion optimization. This is a big area that's being focused on now. If your agency is not doing it, you really should. A lot of you have done some versions of this, like building, adding reviews and testimonials, but ultimately conversion optimization is ensuring that the website is optimized to convert visitors into customers by building trust and establishing authority expertise on the website. So that could be accolades, reviews, awards, case studies, things like that. And then performance and security, like how fast and secure is the site. And then search engine optimization. This is how well the site is optimized to rank well in search engines like Google. And all of this, like in 2019, this has been going on for a few years, but people haven't really stayed, up to date with all of this. But if you have a slow page load time, it's going to impact your site. If you have security, if you don't have SSL, for example, it's going to impact your SEO and it's going to impact your user experience. So all of these things connect together. And so what we've realized is we need to measure what matters to them, which is these areas. And then we need to put them in terms that they understand. Do understand that most website audits out there that exist, they are either you have to do them all manually, which is just you doing it yourself, or two, they're automated. And so you don't get user experience, you don't get conversion optimization, you generally get like on-page SEO and some basic performance and security stuff. And so what we've done with our process over the years and now spending hundreds of hours refining and honestly a little over 10,000 hours building up our platform is to put all of this in effectively. And then you can add other services to it. So for example, what does email marketing look like? Landing pages to drive traffic to the e-commerce sites for specific high value products, things like that, right? So all of our audits include these categories. Specifically, I will be jumping in to show you a report here in just a few minutes. But what I wanted to tell you is this: when you're working with e-commerce site or a regular website, most companies are going to come to you and say things like, hey, look, I want more traffic. That's the biggest thing. Or they might say, I have a website and I just need some changes. And the truth is we tell them that you're not going to get the best return on investment without solving the problems we just talked about on the last screen. Because if you send more traffic to the site, it's like literally filling a bucket full of holes. You're going to pour more and more water into the bucket or more and more traffic into the website, and you're going to lose the conversions and you're just going to continue to spend more and more money. So the goal here is to either get a new bucket, which is a redesign, or plug the biggest holes in the website to start getting results quicker. Okay, so when it comes to e-commerce specifically, we talked about making sure that we look at the key areas, which are going to be user experience, conversion optimization, SEO, security, and page performance, right? So what we do with our e-commerce audits, and again, I'm going to dive into a report here in just a minute, is that we look at these specific areas. And these are all the key areas that matter. You solve these problems, guaranteed they're going to see a higher conversion rate and their site's going to rank better. They're going to make more sales. The first one is the homepage. The homepage is like the billboard for their business. It needs to be optimized effectively. One of the most underrated areas that make a huge difference is site search. Statistics show that if people search for specific products on your site, psychologically, they're invested and it will lead to a higher conversion. So you want to make sure things like a site search is implemented, if possible, auto complete for products, or finding similar products on site search is really important. Making sure you have product categories and listing pages that navigate people through from one section to the other. So for example, if you're looking for shoes on a hiking site, you don't want to have everything listed. You want to be able to talk about tents and then shoes, and then maybe even break down the different types of shoes based off of the usage for hiking, whether it's casual hiking or competitive hiking, things like that. And then making sure that the product detail page is optimized. I'll kind of cover some of those specific points in the audit that we look at. Then we look at the cart and checkout. I don't know if you guys know, there's some crazy statistics that show that almost 3 out of 5 people abandon on the checkout page because of poor optimization. So we address what that looks like, what a successful confirmation page looks like. And then what's really interesting is a lot of people do a lot of these things and they stop at tracking and reporting. So we talk about specifically what goals they should be setting up in analytics and what reports they should have. Are they doing Hotjar recording to look at user trends and optimize? And then another big area that's become more prominent over the last year or so is privacy policies, cookies, and then if you're in Europe, how do you address GDPR standards with e-commerce transactions? Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to now jump in and we can actually take a look at what an audit looks like and how you would run one, and in essence, how you could generate these beautiful reports. Our website audits take less than 5 minutes to run. The e-commerce audit is almost 70 pages of actionable information. It takes about 30 minutes to run. So I'm going to we have 2 views in our SaaS. One is a presentation view, and that's kind of what I'm going to work through with you here quickly. So if you look at this, it quickly, gives you a presentation mode where you can cover things. So here's the scores. So let's just say, let's jump in and let's take a look at the product detail page. So if I were to speak to them, I would come to them and say something like, look, hey, your product listing page, actually, I jumped into the wrong area, the product detail page. So the product detail page, ultimately, its primary goal here is to be the salesperson for that specific product. And
Cliff, we are not seeing the...
Oh, that page? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, let me go back here. All right, how about that?
Looks good.
All right, cool. So, so here, I'm going to just close that again. So our audits offer you 2 different views. One is a detailed view. You can generate obviously a PDF report, but this is a HTML view. We have this here strategically so you can pixel them and you can, do remarketing around it, as well as give them 2 different views. So when we do our discovery presentations, we throw them into the presentation view. And here is the score that we just looked at in my PowerPoint. So I'm going to just jump into specifically the product detail page. So for every single section, we tell them why it's important. So here we just tell them obviously that this is the page that you need to ensure is set up as a salesperson promoting your product and what you need to specifically do to get them to add that product to the cart. Here, we talk to them about, making sure that you have the breadcrumb navigation, relevant product descriptions. Here, if they fail, it'll tell them the impact that they failed it and what in essence, what they failed, and in simple terms, tells them what they need to do and what that specific point is about. So as you can see here, we have dozens of points about what need to be addressed and how they need to be addressed here. I'm just going to close this down, and in the detailed view here, if you were to send them this would be like sending a proposal. We already have all the copy written. You would just season it to taste about why they should be reviewing this audit, why it matters, and how it can help them grow their business, right? Then we give them scores, so they understand this is a demo audit here, so the scores are pretty good, but most businesses are going to be failing in a lot of these different areas. Okay, so when we talk to them specifically about professional web design, we tell them, hey, in this case, the site is passed, but what did we look for? How can they learn more about it and why it matters? And then let's kind of drop down into things like site search, as we talked about here. In the site search, we talk to them about auto suggestion on autocomplete, building a product search. If there's no results found, give them some guidance, building custom 404 pages. All of that stuff matters. So what we've done here is we've built out specific audit points on each specific area that need to be addressed. So on the cart and checkout, easily being able to manage the items on the cart. Prominently set up security seals. Progress indicators. So for those of you who have clients you've done e-commerce sites for, I guarantee you that there's areas of opportunity to work on here. So you can reach out to existing customers and just tell them, hey, look, we built this site, we've revamped our process, and here are a few things that we want to be proactive, and here are a few things that you can do to get better results on your paid advertising, as well as convert more visitors into customers, right? And everything that you want is included and already pre-written here. All you have to do is let's kind of walk through what it would look like to generate a report like this. I have now switched into our web app. Can you see this? Emily, are you able to see this screen here?
Yep, we're seeing it.
All right, perfect. Just making sure. So look, in our application, we have different types of reports you can run. So let's look at the e-commerce report. Here, I'm going to just put in 1000bulbs.com, which is the one that we're looking at. Automatically, this connects with GMB, Google My Business Places API, pulls the website URL. And then here I've typed in LED light bulb, which is the primary keyword. And then the locations are automatically pulled in. Then I click Begin Audit. What our application does is it then loads up the website on the left. And what's really neat here is you can evaluate this by simple clicks. So you take a look at this and you say, hey, does it have a captivating hero image? You could click to the right if you want it to say passed, and then it automatically pre-fills all that data. You can click on it to the left to say it's failed. If you leave it alone, it automatically hides it. So there are some sites where some of these points are not going to be relevant. For example, do they use personalization? Do they use video? And some of these points may not be relevant, so you can leave them alone and it automatically hides them. If you want to add specific notes about the hero image, you can do that here. Once the report is generated, you can actually do screenshots or videos and add them into the audit report as well. So what's really neat is we've taken our decade of experience specifically in e-commerce and 2 decades in the agency space in web design, and literally put everything that you need to know and do for an e-commerce site and put it at your fingertips. So even those of you that just do e-commerce but aren't experts in it, by building this audit here and following our checklist, whether you're running e-commerce or regular websites, you literally can follow our process and be able to generate tremendous value, and better than value, you can actually deliver results for them, because this is built by tons of research, best practices, and ultimately identifying what works. And if you just follow this framework, you will be able to deliver results. So what's neat is then, once you're done with the homepage points, you would go into the site search. So you would just type in, something like bulbs in here, and whatever the site results come in, you can handle this, or you could click on, the product details page. And then from there, sometimes you'll have issues like this where the timeout, you'll be able to refresh it, or the site might be having issues, but ultimately you would just go into the product details page and then manage everything, and then go about doing whatever else you need. Okay, once everything is done, our application takes about 5 minutes. Once you've selected all of this, our application takes about 5 minutes, and then it generates a report like this. The report could then be downloaded in PDF. If you're on the agency plan, it will generate a PowerPoint, which is what we use in our application to present it to the customer, because most of the customers we work with, they just want to know that we know what we're talking about and we give them an action plan. They don't really care specifically about looking at a 70-page report. In fact, they don't have the time to do that, and we like that. So what we do is we infuse our discovery presentation. Again, I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but this is the PowerPoint. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yep, we see it.
Yep. Okay. So I just wanted to walk you through that. Does anyone have any specific questions about running the audit or the report? If not, I'm just going to continue on. Okay.
Nope, no questions at the moment.
All right. Looks like we're set. All right. I am. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So look, as I mentioned and promised, GoWP is that, we're going to give you 3 actionable ways. You've learned now, in essence, how audits can help, what type of audits you could leverage. And so here are 3 ways, 3 quick ways in the next week that you could generate revenue for your business. 1, send an email out. I'll be showing you a copy of an email that you can use, obviously season it to taste, to existing or past clients, and reach out to them, offer this as an audit. Make sure you don't just send the report, schedule a time to present it and speak to them. If you're running the e-commerce side of things, you want to kind of look at that strategy a little differently, just because there's a lot of different points. But if it's for existing clients, then obviously that's just an easy way to add value on your monthly call with them. Another way is to reach out to them and just say, hey, look, we'd like to offer an audit to people that are in your business network. Nothing it's not going to be a sales pitch. It's going to be something of value. And would you mind sharing 1 to 2 companies that you do business with, and send an intro, and then send them a template of what that audit would look like, what an audit would look like, and specifically, a tailored message that they can just copy, paste, edit, and send out to, 2 or 3 businesses that they work with. And then 3, as I mentioned, you definitely should be leveraging website audits as part of your sales prep. And so use that with current leads in your pipeline. We actually I worked with my sales coach from Revenue Love, John Hinshaw, and we worked on a 22-minute video presentation on learning what type of questions to ask, and how to present it and add value, and asking the right questions to lead you towards a sale. So I'll be giving those links over to the team at GoWP when they send the recording out. So you'll have those links in there. And obviously, if you join our Facebook group, you can go to MyWebAudit or facebook.com/groups/MyWebAudit, or just go to Facebook and search MyWebAudit and you'll see our group. It is invite only, so just add your agency information and we'll make sure to add you. But in there we have these templates and videos and discussion and strategy all about sales and lead generation in the agency space. So feel free to join us there as well. Okay, so one of the big things that I wanted to let you know is that hopefully what I've shared has added value. We have tons more resources and video in our SaaS. Our application is not just another website audit tool like WooRank or My Site Auditor. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Truthfully, your business stands on, is like a stool. It stands on 3 legs. You have the sales, production, and services. For production, you have, different tools to, in essence, code, whether it's WordPress or Joomla, or if you hand code or use Dreamweaver or whatever it may be. There's tons of platforms out there for that. And for service, you have customer help desk. You have you even have great services like GoWP that can help you with your white label maintenance, right? Or tasks that come up from these audits. But the truth is, sales is a challenge, lead gen is a challenge, and our platform has been built to deliver value and establish authority and build that trust that you need both in the sales and lead generation cycle. And so our application is something that not just offers website audits. You can do e-commerce audits. We have a competitive analysis assessment. There's no better way to get your clients to invest in their website or digital marketing than to show them what the competitors are already doing and how they're falling behind. We have an ROI calculator. I'll kind of show you a screenshot on the next page of how to use that to sell on value. We have a feature called Better Leads, where literally you can go to Google and search for lawyers in Phoenix or dentists in LA and import them directly into our system, and it'd be able to show you sites that are not responsive or don't have SSL or SSL, HTTPS, or SEO problems, so you can actually reach out to generate leads as well. And then we also offer templates, email templates, landing page copy, widgets that you can add to your website to get visitors to opt in for these audits as well. Okay, coming soon, later this quarter, actually next week, we're launching a landing page audit. For those of you that do landing pages as well, or PPC, you can connect the landing pages. We already do GMB audits, so we're implementing a GMB audit in here as a productized service. SEO page grader, page performance audits for those that you that do page performance is really, really important. And then for all of these, we're working on landing page copy and widgets that you can add to your site and cross-sell these services to, well, not cross-sell, but white label these as services you offer, and either implement them, white label copy, either implement them in your agency or work with a white label company or a service provider like GoWP to help you with management or one-time tasks as needed, ongoing tasks as needed. All right, so here's an example of one of the ROI reports that our application generates. All you have to do is put in some information like this, and then it generates all of this information for them. And the truth is that you close a sale when your prospects perceive value of your service offering is higher than the investment, right? So in this case, for example, with a home remodeler, I didn't have time to throw in an e-commerce example here, but simply put, like when you put in this information, this is for a home remodeler, and you tell them, look, and this is for an actual client of ours now, is that, look, we can bring in $440,000 with some basic SEO and a redesign over the next year. It's so much easier to sell them on a $30,000 website and a $3,000 to $4,000 marketing retainer, because you're giving them a 10x return on investment, which nothing out there can do. Okay, and we have, again, resources on how to sell on value and all of that, if you don't already do that. Here is an example of landing page copy for the ROI widget, and the form that you can just add in your website in 2 or 3 minutes of generating it. Here's a list of different email templates that we have in our system. We continue to add to them on a quarterly basis. Whatever we're using in our agency or best practices, we load them in here. So here's a great example of reaching out to a past client that has not done very much work, and then you can obviously rephrase this for an existing customer, use one of the other templates we have in place. Inside our application, we do have resources like this that was shared by John Falk, one of our members who generated over $40,000 in revenue just using, selling care plans in essence. That's it, not even doing e-commerce. Right? So for those of you that are interested in our platform, this is not like a huge sales pitch. This is just a special offer for those of you that are interested. If you pay for 9 months on an annual plan, you get 3 months free. That works out to less than $2 a day. For those of you all that are on, that are part of GoWP, or just because you've joined this as part of the community, let us know through the chat. If you do sign up, let's just say for a monthly plan, we'd be happy to give you the WordPress add-on or any of the add-ons that we have there, which we usually charge $20 a month for. We would give that to you for free just because you're part of this community. So just let us know. We value your time and our relationship with GoWP, so just mention them, and we'd be happy to do that for you. If you do sign up on one of our annual plans, you get one add-on for free, so you'd just be able to get an additional one just being part of GoWP. All right, we offer a free trial. So for those of you that are looking to just get a free trial of this, you can go to our website and do a free trial. But if you want to buy in and get the bonuses and get the special offer, we offer no hassles, no questions, money back guarantee. We believe in our product. If it's not a good fit for you, just let us know, and you can cancel your plan. For those of you that are looking to invest in the agency plan, right? I just want to let you know, for the first 5 people who sign up, I'll give you a 30-minute free consult. That could be me walking you through my entire discovery process and how we execute that. Answer any questions, show you some of the questions we use, whatever that might look like. 30 minutes. I have 20 years of agency experience. You can talk about anything from sales to lead gen to discovery strategy or website audits. Happy to answer all of those questions and give you a jump start there. Right, I've had over 2 decades of experience, personally generated millions of dollars in our agency, and that's me specifically doing the sales for the first 10 years of our agency. So happy to share that experience and growth hacks with you. And then, look, I know that there's plenty of things for you to do. Emily, I want to thank you and Brad and the GoWP team for having me. And for those of y'all who attended, I really appreciate your time. And I hope that I was able to deliver the value that you expected. You can reach out to me at cliff@myweboudit.com if you have any questions. Emily will be following up with you for a recording. And I'm now going to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Cliff. That was really, really great. I really liked all that information. I thought you had some great takeaway stuff for the audience as well. We did have one question come in about lead generation, and that was if can better leads help find sites in certain industries that use a particular platform, such as dentists using WordPress, for example?
That is a great question. Right now we do, it's called technography, now here I'm going to screw up the name, but anyways, we right now we're only doing the specific industry. Once we scan them though, our platform is able to identify from the leads. If you want to filter down and say, I only want to find WordPress, you can then do that. Yes. And I'd be happy to, I'll answer the next question, but I'll kind of show them what better leads looks like from my dashboard here. So what happens is I create, you create different lists like, dentists in New York or whatever that might be. And once you are able to view them, you can then say, hey, look, I want to filter. And here specifically, I could look for WordPress. Yep. And then I'm able to then search all my leads that came in, and these are all WordPress sites right here. Then I could say, oh, well, look, I know that they have major page performance problems. And so like this one is 19 out of 100 in mobile. So I could reach out with a template, or in this case, I would probably connect with 212 Dental Care because they have several different problems. Our system shows that they don't even have analytics. So that would be a company we would reach out to. And we actually have a data enrichment system as well. So what's neat is when we view the site, we can click view here. And once you view it, so our system imports this from Google, and then it creates, in essence, these indicators. But what we can, so here's the website. So we can quickly look and say, oh, wow, okay, this site looks pretty neat. And actually, the site may have gone through a redesign since the last time we did this, which was in December. But I can click Get Company Information, and it then helps me find emails that are publicly available. Here's the technographics, giving me some base information about what they're doing. And then I can go to LinkedIn and see who maybe Natasha is, and I can reach out to her that way. So I'm connecting to the right person. I know their email, and I can give them relevant. Again, it's all about being personal, adding value by being personal and talking about what their needs are, and go from there.
Awesome. That's really neat. I like that tool. Cool. Well, that is all the questions we had coming through on chat, and we are over our 1:30 mark. So.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and sign off on this webinar, I think.
Awesome. Hey, thank you, everyone. Emily, thanks. Everyone have a great day. Cheers.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.